So heading out, this is another pure India. Everywhere, not everywhere, but I have no idea what percentage, well over 50% of any doors that I've ever experienced in India have these sorts of latches on the inside and the outside. And it's a really interesting case study of just differences in cultural thinking. Now, I imagine it's largely due to cost, though I don't know, but obviously this is going to cost, has a lot less working parts and whatnot than a door handle, than a doorknob. Well, one of the first things that I thought when I came to India is, that seems dangerous. What if I'm inside and someone leaves, forgets that I'm there, which has happened, and close it, and then there's a fire and I'm stuck or something like that, or a robbery or something. That's where my mind went, right, as from my historical experience. But I've never met an Indian person who has thought that. I mean, I haven't talked to tons of people about that, but that's just a different way. And hundreds of millions of people have them. It doesn't seem to be an issue. Here's footwear. Some years back, I began going to the barefoot or zero drop, which is long ago. I was told in the military that I have low arches and I needed to have the special insoles that the computer makes them, model your feet and all of that. And I had those for a while. But then I subsequently, again, I said, there must be some way that I can do this naturally to strengthen the arches or something. So I haven't done a deep study on it. I just began doing it. Probably could have done it a little bit more intentionally. In the beginning, I was using those Vibram barefoot shoes running on the beach, and I had some knee issues because to just jump from one to the other, it's not recommended. Quickly, take it slowly. But now I've been using these for years. And a lot of these shoes also, they will be made with natural products where, again, if you look at the ingredients of Nikes and whatnot, it's largely chemicals. And so the feet are another incredible place of taking in things and also excreting things. And to surround them with chemicals means that some are going to be absorbed. So this is a brand named Lems. I think they're out of Colorado. This is a brand named Vivo Barefoot. And I think if they're French or UK. These boots these are my favorite pairs of footwear that I've ever had. And initially I got them and I was all excited, yeah. And for a couple months, they were kind of binding here, and I thought, I'm feeling uncomfortable, and I guess I'm gonna get rid of these. But I moved through that, and now I can wear these everywhere, just nonstop. They have a bit more support than a normal barefoot because these are also for like climbing the mountains and things, but really awesome. These ones are some handmade, really nicely, lovingly made sandals by some Israeli friends that I met in Portugal. And really interesting family, wonderful people. They, as many people do, and many people that wind up in Portugal, they were not feeling kind of the modern world life, and so they chose to up and move to Portugal, basically with no income, very little savings. Many people move to Portugal for different reasons, but of all the places that I've been, which is a good amount of different places in the world where there are these sorts of alternative or conscious communities and things, the most that I have ever been or seen is in Portugal. And so this family did that. I believe 4 children, some youngsters. I think like one was 2 at that time. But they just did it. They felt, our mental and physical health are more important, and they also were not very interested in putting their children into the education system that they saw there. And so they moved, just following their truth. And subsequently, they started making these sandals, just kind of somehow it came to them, and making moccasins. And that provides them the income that they need. They grow food on their land and whatnot. So pretty awesome. Alrighty, my eyes still are a bit sensitive, and my skin is as well. So here is the outside. This area is really nice and quiet. It's in like southern, but not the most southern of India. These are cuttlefish that I found on the beach. And my mother has a little parakeet, as I used to, and they like cuttlefish, so I picked some up and I'll take her back. Now, here's a classic example of some of my past learning and evolution. Is last time I came out of the dark room, doctor, he's very adamant, he's very passionate and adamant. And so he said, yeah, you must use this umbrella for your skin. And I said, no, come on, man. I don't use an umbrella. I'm strong. I can do it. But these days, no, thank you. This is South India. And there is a very decided benefit to having dark skin here. It protects you. So there are, I believe, over 1,000 varieties of mango trees in India itself. Here's one. And right now, so every other year, nature being its wise and magical self, generally there will be a large harvest of whatever, and then a small harvest. And so this is a small harvest year, but that for me and for people who live in countries that doesn't have mangoes growing, it's awesome. And the first time that I was in India, and I rented a motorcycle for a couple different days, little day trips, drove around, and I experienced my first large mango tree just on the side of the road, and hundreds of mangoes falling down on the ground, being run over. And I was like, I can't believe this. Like, they're running over mangoes. Come on, mangoes. Many coconut trees here, and it's funny being in the dark room, you get to hear life happening, for hours and days. And so at night or whatever, I would just hear the fronds just fall every so often, once or a few times a day, and hear coconuts drop and thunk. Here's some more natural nature. If I think about it, I realized after many years, like, nature provides everything that is needed. It's how nature got here. I mean, these things have survived and evolved over millions of years. And so these plants take the nutrients and things from the sun and from the earth, turn them into the plant itself, and then that plant falls down and dies. Well, nutrients and things don't just disappear and go away. They go there and they can be recycled into the earth and provide those nutrients. But with factory farming and massive industrial farming, where it's done in a way that doesn't allow these things to fall back down and go back into the earth, then those nutrients do go away. And subsequently we get things like we know in the US, I know in the US very well. Growing up, we used to grow tomatoes in our small garden, and tomatoes subsequently became my favorite food. I have early memories of being with my father in the small garden, picking tomatoes with a knife, cutting it open, a little bit of salt, and eating them right there, and delicious. I love tomatoes. But I don't really even buy them in the grocery store. Really, the only tomatoes that I've really appreciated in years are in Spain, in Madrid, for whatever reason. These small grape tomatoes in there are incredible. But otherwise, organic, non-organic, to me they just taste like water. And one of the many wisdoms of nature is that it provided us with a tool to know when there's lots of quality vitamins and minerals and things in. And two of those ways are that as bright color, which is one of the reasons why manufacturers put these artificial colorings in, because we have grown and evolved to recognize bright color as something positive, and has a good, strong taste. And so when a fruit or a vegetable that we buy at the supermarket tastes like water, it's not just because because of some random thing. It's because it doesn't really have that much nutrients in it. And so we feel like we're eating something and our belly's getting full, but we're not actually getting the nutrients. And nutrient deficiency, combined with having lots of external toxins and things, and so we get things like cancer and chronic disease. So doctor is trying out bee products and honey, something so incredible. I think it's Socrates. One of the main foods, he only had a few foods in his school of Socratic thought. One of the main ones was royal jelly, which is this food that the bees feed to. The queen bee is actually a regular bee, normal bee, that is fed this diet of royal jelly, which is a very special compound. And this regular bee is fed this compound so much that it actually changes into this incredible queen who lives, I think, like 100 times longer than the other bees as far as lifetime, and gives like her body weight in eggs like every day or something. Incredible. So bee products. And when I was in Albania 2021, 2 years ago, and in the Balkans in general, they use lots of bees products, honey, propolis, and they will be in pharmacies that have honey because it's used as a medicine. It's a really wonderful thing. So there are many natural fruits and things. We passed some papaya. Here's a papaya. There's no real papayas. There's some small papayas up there. Papayas are funny, really funny, because they have these branches that subsequently fall off, as you can see, and then it continues growing. Most of them don't have big branches like this. It's very rare. This must be a very old papaya. There's a small papaya up there. And papaya, yeah, that's one can often taste very much like water. In the dark room, these papayas that they were giving me, the most amazing flavors of papaya that I've ever had. Just fantastic flavor, really incredible. This is the tulsi plant, which is known as holy basil, and it is used as a medicine. Many of these plants are medicinal plants. It is used as a medicine. It's revered. Tulsi plant is also one of the, it's strongly connected with Krishna, who is one of the incarnations or manifestations of the divine in Indian history. This is a banana plant. There's no bananas on it right now, but the bananas, that's another thing. The supermarket has many great benefits. This is a a fig. You can see figs growing. What a funny plant. What a funny creature. It has figs just growing there like that. Hey, little sister. How are you? So the supermarket provides many great things. It provides such a diversity of foods that wouldn't normally be able to have in, northern Michigan. To have mangoes, I probably would never have experienced it in my life if I didn't come somewhere. But also, they, to provide food to supermarkets all around the world, they get into industrial farming, and so we get one type of banana that is mass grown, and there are, I don't know how many, but dozens, probably hundreds of types of bananas. And here I had, during the dark room, probably at least 4 different types of bananas. So delicious. This, I forget what this is, but they put like food waste and things in it. It creates a methane gas and it's used, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. This is a goshala. Hey Baba, namaskar. Goshala means where the cows are. So they use specific type of cows to provide the milk here, which is used for making ghee, which is basically butter that has been clarified. And in Ayurveda and India in general, we usually use ghee, which is, for different reasons, considered to be more healthy. They also use it to make paneer, which is like the Indian version of cheese. Milk, I mean, the milk I was getting so rich and delicious, and other things like that, curd. Hi, Bella. These are a different type of cow. Hi, sweetie. As you can see. And so another way we have, hey, Baya. Namaskar. In most places, we use one type of cow that has been found to produce the most amount of milk. And so that provides the most amount of milk, so we can sell that and, have the most. There are many different types of cows, and as you can see, these ones have humps. These are another revered creature in India. And specifically, these ones, they are used in Ayurveda. So I didn't share so much about Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a medical system that has been around, I forget, but someone can Google. I know it's been around for longer than 2,500 years because one of the people that I know, once I came here, I began researching about Ayurveda, and I didn't know much. I know allopathic medicine, which is mainly pharmaceuticals and then surgery. So real quick, this is the jackfruit tree. These fruits are incredible. These are small ones. They can get to be like 30 pounds and really thick skin, really sticky. When you cut with the knife, you need to put oil on it because otherwise it's like a glue, literally. And so you use the oil, and if it's not ripe like this, then you can cook it, and it's very high in protein, and I believe protein, I'm pretty sure, because I read that vegetarians use it a lot. It's high in good stuff, and then when it is ripe, it is really soft and really juicy and flavorful. So Ayurveda is this medical system that has been around for thousands of years. And historical India, thousands of years ago, which I think the Vedas, which are massive, I don't know, I could have Googled this, how big they are, massive compendium of knowledge. I think that they're the longest, or one of the longest written works. And I think that they're considered to be around 5,000 years old. But so back then, India had tons of wisdom in different ways, really incredible. And one of those ways was in their medical system that was very holistic. And so one of the people that I know of, his name is Sushruta, and I'll put a little link, Sushruta, and he wrote a Samhita, which is like a compendium of knowledge about medicine. And you can look online, and the images that he put in there, the drawings of the surgical implements, they're the same surgical implements that my mother cleans every day at the hospital in 2023. And that was 2,500 years ago. And his standard of care was things that we're not currently able to replicate with surgery. For example, if someone was in a war and they were injured, let's say damaged arm, his standard was to return it to full functioning, have no scar, have the hair growing back, and no discoloration or anything like that. He's considered the father of modern surgery. And that was 2,500 years ago. So Ayurveda has deep wisdom in all different sorts of things. But, as things happen, it's lost over time. Also being colonized and things, hundreds or maybe thousands of colleges and universities and gurukulams, which is the way of education in past India, they were closed by the British and the Mughals because, that's one way of controlling a population is keeping ignorance. And so lots of it was lost. So I'm not really familiar with modern surgery in Ayurveda and other things like that. But Ayurveda has many great benefits. It's not the only way. And even speaking with Doctor here, he says, there are things in allopathy that Ayurveda cannot do. Obviously, it doesn't have the digital technology and the machines and things. Now, there are other ways to identify issues besides using machines, but with surgery and things like that. So it's just another resource that we have in the world that is not always so well known, because currently, things come and go, and currently we're in a more capitalistic, more profit-focused. This place, I think they can hold 21-ish people inpatient, and then those are usually a mix of foreign and local, and then throughout the day there will be local people coming for outpatient. And he makes money, obviously, to provide this, but this is a place, and you'll find them all around India and other countries that aren't yet so developed into just profit solely, where it's about service. I was just speaking with another woman. So most everyone is gone right now. They closed down for 2 months, and 27 of them just took a 30-hour train ride to Vrindavan to have a little group travel. So there's just me and an older woman in her mid-70s who has strong rheumatoid arthritis and has chosen to stay here and be served. But she was sharing her experiences over many decades with these ailments and benefit that she has received from naturopathy, from allopathy, from Ayurveda, and also none of them being able to cure that one currently for her. But the difference of being in a place like this where it is seva oriented, it's service oriented, and I can share the same. When I'm in the dark room and I'm having one person come, Raghu, the man that I said hello to, who was washing the cow, he came to me every day and he provided the meal, and if I had any issues or needed anything, I would communicate with him through the window. And you can just feel like he's not there to make money. He's there to serve me. It's in a place like this, it's considered an honor to assist someone as they're going through something that I was going through. These are guava. The guava fruit, guava guanabana. So that is a bit about Ayurveda. Let's see if I have anything more. This as a little perhaps interesting. This center was designated a quarantine facility in the beginning of COVID by the government. And so they had people in the early days who had COVID come and stay. And they were provided with Ayurvedic treatments, which are going to be natural treatments. Now, Ayurveda is pretty incredible in that, as I said, it's more holistic than just taking a medicine or having a surgery. It's going to include the diet that we're having. As Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, said, let food be your medicine. So it's going to very much include the diet. It's very big into the diet in things that I know nothing about, because in US, at least where I was, we don't talk about these things. We don't know about, you don't eat this food with that food, because in the stomach they combine and they create these issues that cause different things. Like I was talking with one of my friends who works here. He's 25 and he's not a doctor or anything, but they know these things, partly because it's passed down in their culture, whether or not they know why, and of course also because he's at a place like this. And we were talking about this certain ingredient called maida, and it's flour basically. And he was talking about how they don't use it because it's the waste product of flour. And I know maida a little bit, but I Googled it, and maida is basically what we would call processed flour or bleached flour in the West. And this is basically what the vast majority of bread, cakes, cookies, everything is going to be made out of, because that's just how it is. And they consider it the waste product because it's been processed. And so all of the fiber, all of the nutrients, everything has been taken out. The opposite would be whole wheat. And So that is somehow, it's come into the world where that is the thing that we use, and the whole wheat, we discard all of that stuff. Somehow that is where we're at. But here, a place like this that knows about foods and things, that's considered the waste, the things that we are buying. It's like, what a mind-boggling. And that's actually something that I'm curious if anyone understands, because I don't. But if we look at, again, I haven't done deep research on this, but I've explored different things. But let's take processed flour, processed sugar, processed oil. All of these probably make up, I would guess, over 70% or more of the market, probably maybe even higher, that is processed and consumed. And if I look at like a bleached flour or processed sugar, usually processed refined oil, these usually cost much less than getting like a whole natural oil, or jaggery, which is the term for like a natural sugar here that hasn't yet had the things extracted. It's brown, it tastes different. Or whole wheat, like those items usually cost more. But to process something like a flour, you need machines to extract these different things. The machines obviously cost money. And then to bleach or something, that's chemicals, so you have to buy those things. And you have to have people that run these things. I don't understand how it's possible that doing that could cost less than having it in its more natural state where you don't need to do that. I don't understand it, but that is currently the reality when you go to the market or go to the supermarket and you look at the price of a natural oil versus a refined oil. Somehow the refined oil is much cheaper. So if anyone has any idea on that, I'm curious. These are natural local stone. It's like laterite stone, and it is an interesting thing. You'll see it all around. Here's a different type of mango tree. So they were designated as a COVID quarantine center. They were given these natural medicines, as I said, diet and environment and way that you're using your mind. And then Ayurveda uses all different sorts of ways. So they have pills and tablets which are made from natural materials. And in pharmaceuticals, again, nothing against them. They have their uses for me personally. But if we look at the ingredients, again, a lot of times the ingredients of pharmaceuticals are petroleum based. Lots of the ingredients are due to the petroleum. And the pharmaceutical industry grew, if we look at the history, they grew out of the chemical industry. That's why in different countries still, and in the US in the past, the pharmacist was called the chemist, because it came from the chemical industry. And then they did, like a change for public opinion. So it became into pharmacy and pharmaceutical and that sort of thing. But these ingredients that are used in pharmaceuticals are sometimes not able to be excreted or cleansed from the body naturally. And so they can cause, that's why pharmaceuticals have at the end of those commercials on TV, may cause, all of these different side effects. So Ayurveda uses these tablets and things. They also use medicated oils, and they will use medicated oils on the skin. The skin breathes, it's absorbing all kinds of things. That's why I'm trying to be a bit careful with what I'm putting on it, both with clothes and with creams and things, because it absorbs it. So they use medicated oils that are absorbed. They also use medicated enemas. So they will use oil, they will use decoctions of different herbs and medical plants, and that bypasses the liver, so it goes into the bloodstream. My understanding, bypasses the liver, goes into the bloodstream, it goes in a different way. Drops are very much used. So in the last dark room, I had some very strong ear, sort of infections due to something that I'll share later. Really strong. And what we did was they would come and they would give me drops once or twice a day for a week or something, and that's gone. And in Ayurveda, from what I remember, they consider if anything is in the head, the route is through the nose, because again, this goes in a different way that bypasses the blood-brain barrier in certain ways and things. So we've got eating, we've got skin, we've got enema. They will put things in steam, so they use herbs and things in steam, so it's absorbed through the skin and absorbed. Panchkarma. I know I'm forgetting some, but we've got a little bit of example, the food itself. So those are some of the different ways, and you can check it out if you're interested more. So they were treating these people for COVID and having great benefit, but as COVID continued, they were not just here, but Ayurvedic and alternative medicine, which is considered alternative, it's been around for thousands of years, were told that they were not allowed to actively advertise for COVID treatments, and that they had to, people needed to go to the state-run or the allopathic hospitals. The doctor and his family, they all had COVID, and many people here, and people still, local people, after some time, he said they got tired of the treatments that they were being provided in the hospitals, and so they would come here. And as he said before, sometimes allopathic medicines work better and sometimes Ayurvedic medicines work better, but for whatever reason, they would also have some YouTube videos sharing information, and YouTube videos taken down about different COVID treatments. And this is something that I experienced around the world. I was in, I don't remember how many, but around 10 countries from 2020, 2021. And, in Africa, Europe, US, and many of the places that I was, in Uganda, in Kenya, in US, in Mexico, in India, I would meet people who were in some way involved in the medical industry, whether they were local, traditional natural medicines, or here, a larger place. And they would share similarly that the governments or the local governments or YouTube or whomever would not allow them to communicate their treatments, and that they were told that they can only talk about the vaccines that are provided by the pharmaceutical industry. This is something that is special. Look at that little creature. These are piña, pineapple. Whoa, look at that. It's like a king. So, I'm sure there's many more things that I could share about Ayurveda. That's just a scratching the surface. And I think that's good for now. So next, we'll go into the kuti itself, which I can show you. And we'll go into the dark room and we'll have a little chat. Peace. If I can see the screen.